at the University of Hyderabad on a research topic of eye cancer and quality of life in India, collaborated with Center for Sight Eye Hospital, and she had worked for L.V. Prasad Eye Institute as an adjunct optometrist and have completed Masters in Optometry from University of Hyderabad and worked thesis and related researches. And she is none other than Miss P. Krishnasri.
Good morning, everyone. And first of all, I wish a very warm welcome to all the dignitaries who occupied the stage and President of MAS, Multipurpose Awareness Scheme Society, and also the participants and also the speakers. I wish a warm welcome to you all. And today I'm going to start about my PhD topic, which is a pilot study. First of all, I need to go on with the first slide. And first of all, no one knows, by listening cancer itself, everyone will get scared. Oh my God, cancer, they are suffering with, I'm going to end my life, maybe, I don't survive. But 90% of the people don't aware what is cancer and how to treat it, or what are the treatments available out there. And coming to the one interest topic is, even I get a cancer or what? Oh, even our aankhon ki cancer hota hai kya? Aisa. So, yes. Answer is yes. Even every part of the human body is more prevalent to get cancer. Likewise, even our eyes also get cancer. There are multiple cancers out there. One of that we have chosen is retinoblastoma, which is a childhood intraocular malignancy, and it will arise in the back part of the retina, which is the most crucial element to see your world. So that is called retina, and there this tumor arises, and that is called cancer. It is mostly prevalent in 2 to around 6 years age group, but after the treatment, so how people will survive? So that is called quality of life. So how to measure it, and post-treatment, what are the phases the children go through, parents of children go through is our research topic, and I'll try my best to go through the entire topic throughout the presentation today. Let's start it. So our study title is to implement, it's actually major protocol where we need to implement these questionnaires, because these questionnaires include different types of variables which measures quality of life. According to WHO, what is quality of life? So me or anyone can perceive their way of life in a mentally, physically, emotionally, cognitively, how one can perceive is called quality of life. So मेरा quality of life different होता है, आपका भी different होता है, everyone is unique. So to measure that, we have summed up all the different variables in a questionnaire form, and we have also implemented other tools, so I'll take you through that. So today, a main agenda of this presentation, I'll take you through about what are the methods we have followed, and who all are participated in the research, and what is the take-home message also I'll explain here. First of all, as I have explained earlier, retinoblastoma is an most childhood intraocular malignancy, and the tumor will arise in the back part of the retina. It's a completely posterior part, not in front, you can't see it. And India is contributing, along with all Asian countries, 45% of the Indian population is contributing retinoblastoma today. And every 15 to 20,000 live births, one is retinoblastoma cancer positive in our child. So what is lacking? There are different treatments also available. Don't get scared by, okay, she's talking about cancer, and she's telling all are different cancer that too. But no, our children are not at the risk of this, but at the same time, it may affect. One thing I need to highlight here is anything, any topic or any medical issue. First of all, we need to aware of it. From the yesterday's talk, as Dr. Meenaja and other professors highlighted that, without knowing what tablet we are taking, we are just going through the treatment. So before that, we need to aware of what is the types of cancers and what treatment we are going through. For coming to retinoblastoma, we have all these treatments, which is chemotherapy, where they induce ethiopenol into our body through saline form. And there is thermal therapies also, and there are enucleation, which is completely removing of child eye if the tumor is bigger in size. Treatment will differ based on tumor size. And there are combination therapies also available, like chemotherapy plus other combination therapy they will give if the tumor size is bigger. And coming to this research, what is lacking and why we are going through this is lack of disease diagnosis. Most of the rural people and including urban people, they don't know how to diagnose it because retinoblastoma is a bit asymptomatic, except a white reflex in the child eye. If you observe 10 months or 2 years or 1 year child, either of the eye, it will shine like white reflex if you look at anyone's eye, if the person is retinoblastoma positive. And moreover, it caused due to hereditary or it may be non-hereditary also. And it may be congenital also. And one of the causes, lack of knowledge how to detect it among the parents or caretakers. And one of the other problem is even other pediatricians also should be aware of what is retinoblastoma and when can be referred to the pediatric ophthalmologist. And coming to that, there are different symptoms for retinoblastoma. One is crossed eye in our layman language, which is a squint or strabismus will say. And one more thing, as I earlier said, it is white reflex and higher refractive errors. If you observe, even chotasa kids also, very little ones having a thicker lens, if you observe, it means they are having a high power. So it may be due to pathology inside, like tumors or any other pathology like glaucoma, any cancers also. Moving on to next slide. Aim of the study is to check the practicality of implementing a quality of life questionnaire. Simply taking the study tools into major study protocol and implementing them and facing the barriers, it will probably end your project. So before that, we need to do a pilot the study. Pilot means before doing a major project, we need to implement it in a sample, very less sample. So what we have done, we have taken 20 samples. In the 20 samples, 10 are retinoblastoma positive, whom we call retinoblastoma survivors. Because post-treatment, they have survived it throughout the process. They need to undergo enucleation, examination under anesthesia, multiple chemotherapies, laser therapies. So they may face, we can say that what will children can face and like how far they can suffer. But even children do suffer because all these procedures are critically lead to behavioral and mentally, emotionally abuse the child in a medical way, I can say. Like yesterday's topic, one of the speaker quoted healthcare associated infections or healthcare associated anomalies, I can say here. So among the 20 samples, we have included retinoblastoma survivors 10 and other normal healthy children 10. So among them, we have implemented researcher administrated questionnaire, which is a structured interview. In that, we have included the questions which we wanted to measure, and one more questionnaire we have implemented is PETSQL 4.0 generic core scale, which is all over the world globally. We can implement the questionnaire because that is the questionnaire. It is available in all the language globally. Coming to India, we have chosen this questionnaire because according to literature, most of the studies have implemented and validated it, and moreover it is feasible, means practically we can include, easy to understand, and available in all other Indian languages too. So we have chosen, as it is Hyderabad, we have chosen Telugu, Hindi, English questionnaires, which you can see one of the questionnaire format there. In the questionnaires, we have completely 4 items, which is physical health and mental health, environmental, social health. Among this, we have, under physical health, we have walking, how far walking is a problem, how far moving and helping our parents or doing any household chores and all is any problem. We will measure each variable by on a Likert scale of 0 to 4. If it is a problem, they need to choose 4. If it is not, sometimes it's a problem, they can choose 2. It's all, we measured it on a 0 to 4 scale. If participants at any point of time during the process, if they face any problem to understand any question, they can immediately stop. In our research, as it's a more qualitative, it's not undergoing any invasive process, we didn't find any worse results or worse effects also during the study time. So it was saying anticipated risks were, they may be uncomfortable because few questions are not understandable, and most of the samples we have chosen are younger group who all are children. So they obviously tend to take the help of their parents. That may be a huge problem there. But here, coming to this questionnaire, we also included parents' perspective. In the same questionnaire, we have parents' perspective questionnaires for the same 23 questions, and also children's perspective also. Why? Because children may say actively, yes, I can go and walk, I can go and play with my friends, or I can easily do any task like other, because they're not aware of what they're going through medically. But coming to parents, they are the caretakers. They know how their children is doing and all in our day-to-day life. That's why we wanted to include, because the literature is saying that parents' perspective is a little inferior and compromised quality of life is facing by their children when comparatively with the actual cancer survivors who are children. So that's why we have included both parents and children. Coming to our study, we can able to include in a month in a comprehensive oncology OPD day-to-day outpatient department, we can able to include 22 patients totally. 22 patients, we have included 15 are retinoblastoma survivors, and remaining 7 are control group who are healthy families. And during this process, how we have started is, first if they agree for the study, we will explain them, and if they are agree for to participate only, we will include both the parents and children. And we have after following the IEC approval, which is Institution Ethics Committee approval, only we have implemented the study even for the pilot too. So first we have taken the informed consent from parents or caretakers or guardians, and also we have taken the informed assent. What is informed assent? Whenever you need to include any child or any younger age group, you need to take their personal consent also along with the parent. That is what informed assent is. According to WHO norms, we have taken both the consents and assent, and if they agree, they will move into the study. If they are not interested, we will usually perform all the tests. Whenever they come for the follow-up, there will be no differentiation just because they are not intentionally to participate in the study. And after recruiting them, we have implemented both the questionnaires, and to implement the both questionnaire, we have taken what all we observe. I will explain you here. During the pilot study process, we have followed all the COVID norms, especially it's a pediatric ward and the hospital. So we have kept all in the mind. So we have followed the COVID norms, which is every patient after every visiting, we have to clean the room and all the slit lamp examination and the room completely, and then only we can allow to other patient to go through the study. And here the slide is about data, how we will manage the data, because few patients are concerned about the data because they don't want to others to know that they have been going through these problems, so they want to keep it confidentiality. So the data will be maintained throughout the process with the primary investigator, that is me, and with my other supervisors. Until we publish the data, it will be stored in electronic gadgets and other hard disks and all. And we have analyzed this data in our statistical analysis, which is a Microsoft 2010 version. We have done all the descriptive statistics because it's a very less sample study. Standard deviation and mean will be vary. So that's why we have done only few minimal statistics we have done. And coming to the results, so what all we have observed is here. Results of 22 RB survivors, in that female and male ratio is 6:9 in the RB survivors who are cancer patients, and controls 3:4, male and female ratio is. And the mean age of RB survivors in our study was 18.5 months with the standard deviation, here we have converted into years. And in the controls we have a mean age group, on an average 10 years old is the average. And also we have observed that in the pilot study, main aim is to observe how far one can understand and how far it is feasible. To measure those, we need to understand we need to implement two questions, that is whether they are understanding or not. If they are problematic, then they need to put a no. Otherwise, if it is not problematic, they can choose 0 as an answer. And how much time they are taking to complete the questionnaires, we have measured in minutes. That is what I have mentioned here. 15 RB survivors and 3 controls opted for their parents' help because they are not able to complete the entire questionnaires. They are here and there actively roaming around and the OPD. So we have included only parents' questionnaire responses. We have excluded in that case such cases. Additionally, we have also measured all the other health items which are dimensions of quality of life, that is physical health and social health and emotional health and school health. Here the shocking thing is, except the enucleated patient, remaining all patients, including normal patients and the cancer survivor patients, have the same quality of life. They don't have walking problem, they don't have any other difficulties in doing day-to-day daily activities comparatively with the normal kids. But only whomever we have removed the eye, only they have faced the problematic quality of life in a day-to-day life. That is what I have mentioned here. I am not going through the numbers because it is completely numerical data. So here the audience are heterogeneous, so that's why I am not explaining the numbers and all. But I am just simplifying it that we didn't find any difference between cancer patients of whoever undergone except the enucleation, which is completely removal of eye. Remaining all patients are quality of life is same as normal patients. And here, coming to the last before slide, our mean age of diagnosis. Here, diagnosing retinoblastoma, we have few barriers. Where we are lacking diagnosing it is early detection. Early detection is lacking, and laterality of the disease. Laterality means which eye is, both the eye is affected or only one eye is affected, we called laterality. If one eye is affected, then we have mentioned only a monocular or both binocular will say. And in our study we have found that even type of treatment also plays a crucial role to maintain a proper quality of life. Coming to this, sorry. This is we have this is researcher administrated questionnaire where we have included is there any maybe social health differences, which is how far a cancer kid and a normal kid is utilizing the internet services and any other school activities. We have observed it, and we also observed the education status of the parents. Is there any is it acting as any barrier or not, we have observed, but luckily we didn't find any difference in parents education level. But coming to financial status, there are all different groups of population were there in our study who are there are average, below average financial, and we have compared the GDP also, family income, but it didn't affect. Socio-demographic profile also didn't affect, except the treatment and the finding the age-matched controls here is a difficult problem which we have faced entire the study. So whatever the study variables which we didn't feel or which are not affecting the quality of life, we are going to exclude them in the major study protocol. And the factors which are affecting the quality of life mainly is irrespective of the age and respective to age and disease letality. If both eyes are affected, they may tend to obviously have a compromised quality of life, and also type of treatment is playing a key role in one's quality of life in younger child group. And especially enucleation is playing a key role with the child's quality of life. Target of this pilot study, as I have told earlier, that to check the feasibility. So we have observed that without disturbing the OPD in a day-to-day life, we can implement this questionnaire because it is feasible, comprehensible, and easy to understand as according to our study population. So we are going to implement it in the major study protocol. And yes, the doubt may arise that we didn't compare this questionnaire with any other questionnaire. So how can you can come to a conclusion that pediatric 4.0 questionnaire is feasible to implement it? Because as per the literature, it is feasible, and according to other authors also, it is more understandable. Always research should be in a way that even a layman can understand, even a non-reader also can understand, because nowadays everyone are googling it before consulting a doctor. So our research results should be authentic before we publish or before reach the population. So that's what I feel. And yeah, coming to this side, I wanted to conclude in this way that increasing the awareness among the parents, caretakers, and the guardians, even among the doctors I mean pediatric general physicians or pediatricians also, because when to refer to the ophthalmologist, most of the cases are reaching us by the tumor increases its size, where we can directly go for extreme advanced chemotherapies and enucleation at the end. So in our study, we have faced a problem because finding age-matched controls is a very difficulty, because 4 years kid can have a cancer, but finding a healthy age-matched control in a comprehensive OPD is a difficult thing we have faced. And socioeconomic status which we have included is of parents, not of kids. So it may have a hindrance in the study results. So in a conclusion, that the preliminary findings of this study is to generate the preliminary data to avoid any avoidable problems in our study. And also we have found that inferior, means compromised quality of life we have found in our enucleation patients as per the children and the parents' perspective. and the results support further studies to conclude it authentically. I acknowledge my professors and supervisors and my department staff and especially my family, because throughout this they are the only backbone of our whatever we do. They are the ones, so we should never forget them. And lastly, these are my references which I have considered all the literature, and I would like to dedicate this work to all the brave soldiers who have lost their life. Thank you. And I wanted to thank you, all of you, because even though it's a new topic, you have paid attention towards me, and thank you.